right, so it is 7:01. I will call the meeting to order. We don't have an official flag, so we're just going to skip the Pledge of Allegiance. Normally, we're in the Baxter Auditorium, we have our flag. So let's just do roll call.
Gonzalez.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mason Jack.
Here.
Hussein.
Here.
Pelletier here. Puzo. Here. Flores.
Here.
Jones. Here.
Okay. First up, I'll make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from January 13th, 2022.
Awesome.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, corrections?
Okay, all those in favor of approving the board minutes from January 13th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Okay, next, public comments, agenda items only. Either one of you would like to address the board? No? Okay. President's report, I just want to give everyone an update for the walkthrough. We, keep kind of pushing it off a little bit. Pam and I talked, and we thought kind of pushing it back to maybe a little bit later spring when we might have some decent weather, so that way we can do an exterior walk around as well, since there's some repairs that will most likely be coming up. So we will keep you posted. Weather in Chicago is very predictable, so we will see, but we will keep you posted. So we haven't forgotten. It is something that we definitely want to do, especially with Mark Muhammad. We'd like you guys to get the behind the scenes look and everything too. So stay tuned for that. Committee reports. Before I go into that, I just want to make sure that everybody has a committee assignment. So right now, so Mark has expressed that he would like to be policy. Muhammad did express to me the same. I'm inclined to agree. I think as a new trustee, I think policy is a good committee to be at. It really gives you kind of the behind the scenes bones look about everything. So I would like you both to be on the policy committee. So that would leave 4 on the policy committee. I would ideally like to get someone else on the finance committee with Carlotta. I don't know, between Tamara, Lima, and Joanne, if anyone has a preference.
I could go with finance.
Okay.
Whatever is convenient.
Yeah.
I think I have experience now in the policy.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So why don't, for now, I'm going to have Lima and Carlotta on finance. That would leave Tamara, Mark, and Mohammed on policy. And the facility, that'll still be me and Joanne.
Who's on the facility?
That's me and Joanne.
We haven't had an actual facility meeting
No.
of the committee because most of the facility stuff has been treated as the committee as a whole with the entire board with the renovation and stuff. That's typically how it's kind of played out. It would not be a bad idea to have the facilities committee meet at least like once a quarter just to say that we've met and if anything does come up. But like I said, typically with anything related to facilities, the board has treated it as a committee as the whole,
Right,
basically.
Yeah.
So-
Especially with the recent renovations, too, that's something we want the board to be a part of,
Yes.
so. Okay, so good,
So that is effective this evening then, so then I will let the new policy committee members know, because we do have an upcoming meeting, I don't remember the exact dates, I'm trying to think of what
Yeah,
I think,
April,
so.
the first week, the first Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
so
ours,
that's
okay,
okay.
yep.
And that is too early. Yeah, so Thursday at 4. It's usually like the first Thursday of the month. Yeah, I'm not sure what to take that.
No, that's fine.
And I'll send out an
I want to
email.
say April.
it's usually in a mutually agreeable time that
Yeah, and I
policy
we can
committee
totally
meets,
change
so.
it. And something that was
Good for me.
what worked for us, so.
Okay, great, thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's go right into finance.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports for January 2022.
Second?
Thank you.
Okay, let's start with the general ledger. Any questions? The income statement. I'm assuming that all the 2021 bills have been paid.
Yes.
Because they haven't done it for like 2 weeks, is it 2 weeks? Or maybe this is,
I
I
think
can't remember.
that-
I didn't do it this week, I know that.
This week might have, it was the first week that we didn't have any 2021.
That's what I thought.
But we've been keeping them separate, as you've seen.
Yeah.
And so then the auditors will, credit those back to the correct budget year. So most everything from 2021 we should have paid, so we shouldn't see any more of that coming through.
But we don't know what was left from 2021.
We don't have the full balance yet, because
Okay.
it's not been audited yet, but
Uh-huh.
we're pretty close. I mean, we can see, what from us.
Right,
to
right, right.
the
You can
bank
see
accounts and
from
stuff
the
like
last.
that. But usually we don't find that out until they've completed the audit.
Okay, just wanted to make
Kind
sure.
of like that, this is where we stood at, 12/31/2021. So
Okay,
we'll find
just
out.
want to let everybody know that. Any questions? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, you're okay.
No? The check register, any questions? I do, Orange Boy Ink.
I was at last.
That is the Savannah emails, that's the software that we use to send out all the marketing emails.
Okay.
So that's.
Is that a yearly thing?
That is, it's an annual fee, so we won't see that again until next year.
I questioned it, but you weren't here.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
would have to
said
re-question it.
Yeah, yeah, I had a
Okay.
CCS meeting yesterday. Most of those big ones that are not things that you see frequently are either once a year or once a quarter.
Right, that's why when I'm signing them, I'm noticing, and I asked Suzanne, but this one, I think is the one where she wasn't really sure of.
Possibly.
And I had never, there was a name change of a company, because some
Well,
company.
the company is, I can't remember, Savannah or Orange Boy, and they use them kind of interchangeably,
Okay.
but it's the email.
But I just didn't recognize
Yeah.
that name, and I thought, well,
Yeah,
sometimes
when you
it's
only
going
see it
out,
once
or
a
we
year.
switched,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Any more questions? Well, then, I'm the one asking questions, or what?
No, I was with you on Orange Boy, yeah. Why is St. Martha 1236?
That's the amount that they are charging us. So they raise it by 3% every year, so,
Okay,
yeah.
it just seems like such a random number.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so whatever we started at, which when I first started, I think it was like at 800 something, but yeah, so they raise it every year, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah, we're kind of over a barrel a little bit. I will say, since they've got some new administrative staff over there, and they've been really super responsive when we've had, we had some issues with the lights, and then we wanted to make sure that the plowing was done and stuff like that. They've been really great about it, so I'm glad to see that, because sometimes in the past, we haven't had as good of luck with the responsiveness, but that really seems to have changed, so, yeah. But it is a lot to spend on parking. I did want to also bring up something about the general ledger. I know in the past, for those board members that have been on the board for a while, in the petty cash fund in particular. So in the bank account where it says Fifth Third PC, that's our petty cash account. I normally try to keep that around $2,000, but Fifth Third, what I've become increasingly unhappy with, has been dinging us for fees and with everything. So I'm trying to make sure that we have enough in each of those accounts so that they don't charge us fees to use them. So I am going to be looking into potentially switching banks. We had a really great relationship with bankers at MB Financial, and then when Fifth Third bought them, those bankers stayed with them, but in the past several months, they have all left. So we don't have any personal library bankers that we work with at Fifth Third at all. So, and Suzanne and I have been talking about this, I'm pretty unhappy, but yeah, so just to let you know that this is kept a little bit high right now, but I haven't transferred it into special reserve just because I don't want us to be charged any usage fees if we don't have to.
You ready to vote on the financial reports? Mr.
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Altieri, yes. Guzzo? Yes. Flores?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
All right, facilities, well, I kind of gave you that, so I'll update too. And I'll touch base and maybe maybe after the walkthrough too, we can kind of figure out, maybe just kind of pencil and schedule out and we can start.
Just so that we can kind of see what our bylaws
Absolutely,
say.
yeah. Policy, as we mentioned previously, so next scheduled meeting is
First week of
April.
April.
I had the calendar too, so I apologize. Okay, all right. Let's go on to staff reports. And anything you want to highlight, add to your written report?
I don't think so. I think that I've explained everything pretty well. Does anyone have any questions about my written report? There were a couple things I did want to highlight that were not necessarily part of my report, but the patron survey data, I pulled that together. So in general, people have been really positive in the comments and that kind of thing. So we started to look at, this is just a quick overview of the statistics, but we're looking at the individual comments as well and plan to address, share some of the positive things that I've said, but, in areas that, people have suggested improvements, we plan on sharing those either, probably both on the website and potentially as part of the next newsletter. So we'll be highlighting some of those so that, patrons can see or, residents can see that we've heard what they're saying and we're trying, want to be responsive and stuff. So, just wanted to give you guys that. The other thing that I wanted to say is that we have also been working on an annual report. Karina has pulled together a wonderful 4-page graphic kind of mirroring the statistical report, but I'll be adding some narrative to that. I get the boring part, all the words. So I was hoping to have that done by today, but because not only was my mother ill, as you guys all know, but shortly after my mom got out of the hospital, my husband was in the hospital, and they were afraid we had a heart attack. So my sister told me that we need to find someplace else for me to hang out and not a hospital. So anyway, he's fine. My mom's doing okay. So it's just been kind of a hectic month, so I didn't get that done. But that will be coming hopefully before the next meeting, but certainly by the next meeting, you guys will see that full annual report in your packets, and then that will be something that we'll want to do every year because it's not something that we've done in the past. Does anyone have any questions about?
I have a question about Jeff's report. Why are you taking crash courses in library?
So I do not believe that he's leaving. I do think, however, that Jeff will make an excellent director when he decides to do that. That is a 3-course program, so it's not just, it builds on that. So today, I think, this week was his 3rd one. Something that he's just been interested in taking. A lot of it's just to have a better understanding of what happens at the administrative level. But like I said, at least as of right now, I don't anticipate that he's going to be leaving us any goodness. I know. I will do what I can to make sure that he remains happy here at the library. But yeah, it's just mostly he asked if he could take it, and I think it's a good, especially for the managers, because it's kind of it's a good for the managers to have a little bit better understanding of what happens too.
I'd like to welcome Stephanie to the library, and she's getting herself acclimated.
And so it was when she was first supposed to start, Courtney had to stay home because of health issues, so we pushed her actual in-person start date a week, but she was able to attend the youth services meeting remotely because they do a virtual monthly meeting. So she's very excited to start.
Well, also like to give a shout out to Chad, because I think his social media posts lately have been
It's
really
Hi,
funny. Any other questions for Pam? Comments?
Overall, was there anything very surprising from the survey? Or do you want to wait till next?
No, I'm trying to think back. Not really. It's always really gratifying to think that we think that we're doing in general a good job. So that's really great. I think what's always kind of surprising to us is that too much communication is never enough. So like sometimes people will comment on things that we already do or that kind of thing, and they're just not aware. So it's a way for us to think about, how are we marketing things? How are we letting people know about the services of the library and what we do? Because obviously if people are missing some of those things, we're missing, we're not communicating with them in a way that is effective for them. So that's kind of a perennial problem in library, in the library world. But it's another reminder that, we may think we're communicating a lot or overly much, but in some instances it's really not the case. So, but nothing I think really too surprising. But again, we are going to make every effort to respond to those comments where we can, and if we have to make changes to things or increase marketing or whatever. So.
So as I'm going to unfinished business, so I did touch base on the walkthrough. Is there anything specific that you wanted to
The only
add to
other
that?
thing that I wanted to add is a potential way to think about how we do the walkthrough, at least this year and maybe in subsequent years going forward. It's kind of redundant in subsequent years, sorry. I suggested to Emily one of the ways that we could potentially do this, especially because I do want the board to do an exterior walkthrough, which is not something that we've usually done. Is to break up the walkthrough into 1 month we'll do an interior walkthrough, like maybe in March, because we usually do have to do a special meeting before the regular meeting. Because while it's a lot more open, so like there's fewer places that are kind of, wow, it's like, to see the behind the scenes of the library with the renovation. The walkthrough just in the interior of the building usually takes about an hour. And then, and I would like to also, so I was suggesting that we do the interior walkthrough again, maybe in March and then potentially in April when the weather hopefully is a little bit nicer and it stays lighter later in the day to do that exterior walkthrough as a special event. So that's just kind of how I was thinking about potentially doing that because we're adding that exterior component. But this year, we are looking at things, I'm sure. I know I talked to Carlotta about this and she's come in and stuff, but we definitely have to look at gutters. As you know, last year we had a gutter fall off the side of the building.
And I had something else.
Yeah, so there's, the gutters are a constant source of frustration for Ed. They've done a great job of keeping them as clean as possible. But they all get very clogged, lots of icicles, then we get lots of drippage when it melts and then it freezes. And so it's all, of course, right around entrances and exits to the library. So gutters for sure, we need to do. I don't know that the building has ever been tuck pointed, so I want to show the board some of our particular areas of concern with that. The concrete, the porch, and some of the sidewalks, we've kind of put off doing for, because it's surprisingly expensive or not. I'm always a little shocked when, they give me the quotes on some of these things. So that's, so the concrete, the porches, and then railings particularly in the front of the building. So those are kind of the big things that Ed and I have been talking about, with potential exterior building issues that have to be addressed. So we'll have to, once, we're starting to talk to people once we get some general idea about pricing on things that obviously guides us to whether or not we have to go out for bid. That if you remember, we're required to go out to public bid if something is $25,000 or more. And I anticipate that for at least a few of those things, those are all going to be over that amount. So then we'll make some determinations about what the priorities are, because I don't think we'll be able to do them all. So that over the next couple of years, now that we've kind of gotten the interior fixed up, right? That we want to focus on the exterior buildings.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
And if we know contractors, do you want us to route them to you? That can-
So yeah, if you do know contractors or something, even if we have to go out for bid, we can send like the bid documents to them. We'll let them know that, we're going out for bid, and we can encourage people to submit their bid documents.
The YS Grand reopening reception.
So I know we talked about this last week, and I know we're probably all tired of seeing it on the agenda, but I did want to let the board know that we did choose a date, and that is Sunday, April 10th. So that would be, it won't officially be National Library Week, because National Library Week is the 3rd through the 9th, but we are going to be doing some activities throughout the week, and then we figured we'll kind of culminate with a grand reopening, ribbon cutting, maybe some other events. Hopefully, as cases continue to trend down, we're looking at mask mandates and different things like that kind of being rescinded. So our hope is that we'll be able to have a more festive event than maybe we would have, earlier in the year, where we were just going to do like a photo shoot to do a ribbon cutting. But this way, we feel like it would be a good time to kind of get, have more of a celebration, kind of, like I said, culmination of National Library Week, and then also with the grand reopening. I'm hopeful that we will have the plaque also to unveil at that as well. So, but I did want to let the board know that that was the date that we chose.
Did you say a kind of date?
I did not say time yet. So probably, that's a Sunday, so it would be sometime in between 1 and 5.
And not tired of seeing it. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I haven't forgotten, and I know it's on there, and yeah.
Mark your calendars. Okay. New business. So everyone should have gotten a copy of the loans, renewals, fines, and services policy. I'm going to do this right. I'm going to make a motion, and then we can discuss. I will make a motion to approve the loans, renewals, fines, services policy. Thank you. Okay.
So as I pointed out in my report, excuse me, basically what we're asking the board to approve is the codification of what we've been doing during the pandemic. When we, closed the library to the public, and it was harder for people to get into the library and different things like that, we standardized most of the loan periods to 3 weeks. And we never changed those back once we reopened the building to the public. And we have had several comments from patrons that have really appreciated that standardization. It's made them easier to it makes it easier for them to remember when things are due and that sort of thing. We've also seen no negative impact in terms of availability of items with the increase in loan periods. And so after discussion with the department managers, we are suggesting that the board approve the 2022 one that I had wrote in my very sloppy handwriting, which, as you can see, except for a few things, again, keeps those, basically it codifies what we're currently doing.
I think it makes sense, and I think you guys listen to what the patrons are enjoying. So this is something that you happen to do temporarily, but that is something that is servicing the patrons better. So any questions?
The only thing you're changing are the audio visual DVDs and the other video games. No,
Video games?
yeah,
Everything to 3 weeks.
the time loan period.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, we have seen no, we talked a lot about how, the pandemic and then the market increase in streaming materials and those kinds of things that happened during that time has really we're starting to see some of that effect on holds for DVDs and that kind of thing, so we're really seeing some of that drop off. So the increase in the loan periods has not really affected people's ability to, to get those materials in a timely way, just because the holds have dropped off because more people are using streaming services than viewing or physical items. And you can kind of see that offset if you look at like the statistics for downloadables and streaming; those continue to be high and increasing often.
We'll vote on that policy. Hussein?
Aye.
Syria? Rizzo?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mason Jeff?
Yes. Okay. Communications. Actually, did I over?
No, that was included.
Oh,
as
sorry.
part of the other communications.
okay.
Oh,
thank you, okay.
again, so that everyone had a copy of it.
Yes.
As they were, everything else.
Everyone should have gotten, a paperclip package.
Yeah, I do want to,
And then,
I do
yes,
want
thank you.
to call out China Chef, who very generously, which they've done for, in the past as well, have donated gift certificates to various businesses throughout Monroe to encourage people to, come in and either carry out or eat in. And I believe they sent us 15, is that right? So they gave us 15 this year. And so they've all been claimed by staff, but we wanted to include that just to, so thank you to China Shop for doing that. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, so there was also a small paperclip package of some communications that we received this month.
Yep. So the email communications from Ms. Sander and 2 other concerned residents. I included all of that documentation in here. We do have the ad hoc committee in place. They have met once. They will be meeting again on Monday and giving me their final recommendations by Tuesday, so that I can share them then. And so I just wanted the board to see the email chains and then the request for consideration.
Thank you for including everything.
Yeah. And as part of that is the collective loan policy, because again, like the loans policy and the other policies, I don't expect the board to be reading those all the time, so just if you have it front and center as you're reviewing everything.
Any questions, comments? Okay.
Can I just say a couple other things
Yes,
about,
please
so I did want to reiterate the OMA training, the Open Meetings Act training. I did send an email. I believe that you've all have probably seen it. I talked to a couple of you about taking the training. The U.S. Attorney General site has been down for almost 2 years. So they just, it was hacked. And they had to rebuild everything. And the new one is a little bit clunkier than even the one before was, and that was not an example of great web design, I didn't think. So it's been exciting. Just a reminder, if you've taken the Open Meetings Act training before, you are not required to do it again. Obviously, you can if you want. Our new trustees do have to take it, and then either send me an email or next time that you're here in person, I need to have those certificates on file. So just a reminder about that. You all probably should have gotten letters from Sickage as well. I know for the new trustees, they may wonder, that's just a standard part of the audit process to, they do interviews for fraud. So it's not anything because you're new or anything like that. It's just a standard part of the audit process. And then the other thing that you will all be receiving again, if you have not already, every year elected officials as well as key personnel have to fill out the statement of economic interest. So you will be getting an email notification for that, and they all are being sent to your trustee emails. This year that form has changed, so it is a little bit more involved.
So the questions make even more sense?
No, they make even less sense. I was actually reviewing it before this meeting. if anyone has any questions about it, let me know, but the Illinois Library Association has actually shared their concerns with this Illinois State Ethics Board, or no, it's Cook County, it's the Cook County Ethics Board, because the concern is that those questions are so intrusive and or difficult to answer that it may prohibit people from running on boards. And I didn't necessarily think that so much myself, but it is more in-depth than the previous one, so you might, if you like I said, if you have any questions on that. So that should be coming. I had to submit the list of filers or eligible filers to the Cook County by February 2nd. So you should be getting them soon, because I believe that they're all due to be returned to Cook County by May 15th, something like that. So you should be getting them soon. Right, yeah. So you should be getting them soon. So
But it's
just
still gonna be online.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it'll still be online, but it is going to be a little bit more involved, just to watch for that in your trustee emails. I think that was everything, so.
You all received the trustee workshop info as well.
The other handout, I did send this to you guys in your trustee emails as well, but I thought I would give you a piece of paper for reminders. These are similar, they do these trustee workshops, I think, like once a year, so many of you I know have already taken them, but they may be of particular interest to our new trustees. And if you are interested in attending, I believe that all of these meetings are virtual, and I believe they're all on a Saturday, but if you're interested in attending, let me know, because then I can get everyone registered, so. And that's all.
Yes, sorry. No, thank you. Thank you, yeah. All right. Next, public comments, non-agenda items. Either of you like to?
Good evening, Director and members of the board. My name is Paul Berg. I live in Morton Grove, just down the alley behind the library. I've lived in Morton Grove for 45 years and raised my 5 children here. As a credential, I am a physical therapist. I worked for 33 years in the Chicago Board of Ed with children. I've spent 17 years coaching our poor little kids in Morton Grove baseball, 10 years coaching basketball in St. Martha's, and another 12 years as a Boy Scout leader. And unfortunately, I have to tell you this, Emily, that your husband, Jason, I drove him up to Napawan when he was about 11 or 12.
Morton Grove is a small world.
Good kid, always. Anyway, after perusing the comic book Gender Queer for 14 minutes, I easily determined that this material was inappropriate for grade school children. It's kind of a sad commentary that the library has, how would I say it, society opened up the can of worms, and I think we may have dug into it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nancy Sander. I'm a Morton Grove resident 40 plus years. I am an attorney. My daughter is a pediatrician. My husband, who retired, was a health teacher at the Waukegan High Schools. So I had an opportunity, well, first it all started when the brochure came in to my mailbox, and the first thing I saw on the cover was Comics Plus. Oh, cool. My grandchildren love Dog Man, all of those. It's on the Christmas list to buy the whole thing. But then I looked a little closer and I saw the book Gender Queer. I also looked at a couple of these other selections, but my attention was to Gender Queer. I knew the controversy about the book. I also know about the appeal that comics have to young children. It's their threshold into the reading world. So looking further at Gender Queer, even buying the book, I looked through it. I have it with me. If any of you would like to peruse it, you're welcome to do so. I have it in my, on me now. I find that it's truly inappropriate. I mean, it has a picture of pedophilia. It has a picture of oral sex, male. It has masturbations. In fact, there's talk about it where the author was with the whole practice. I mean, some of it, I am not telling you it should be taken off the library shelves. I'm not about book banning, but I think we have to think restrictions. We have young, tender children. The COVID came and you were so careful to protect their physical health. But their mental health, their innocence is also very much in need of protection. And I'm coming to you as my community because like you just said, Morton Grove is a small world. We know who we are. And because what might be appropriate for elementary schools in New York City may not be appropriate for our Morton Grove children. Again, I'm not about banning this book. If it has some redeeming social value, God bless. All I'm asking you is to rethink, maybe not just this book, but maybe the other selections that maybe were just part of a package and were just kind of all thrown, what does it say, 20,000 titles, and say, is some of this stuff better not put out for our children, our babies, our elementary school children? When the time comes, it'll be there for them. But we don't have, and you know, today, supervision, you know, parents have to work, two working families. Let's just kind of let them stumble on something. And I'll tell you, if you even look at the book with menstruation, I looked at some of those pictures and it scared me. And it wasn't true. But anyhow, that's all I want to say. I have put in a written request to have the board or to have the library staff, I guess it would be, you know, consider whether some of these items should be restricted or whatever word you want to use. And that's all I'm here to do, is to tell you from my heart how I feel about this topic and to let you know that, you know, it's in the interest, what I believe, of my grandchildren and all of the children in Morton Grove.
Thank you both for coming and expressing your concerns. Okay. That is all we have for our agenda. Our next scheduled meeting is Thursday, March 10th. Usually doesn't happen where it's on the exact same day as the month ending. So I have 7:39. Meeting is adjourned.